like, you lot say you want this, but the truth is, it's not something you tune into. You would rather me run jokes all the time.
It's important to create an environment where, and people, again, I say it sounds corny, where children feel safe to be able to express themselves. They know it's cool. They know they're not going to be judged. They're not going to be labeled. They're not going to be stigmatized. And sometimes it's the first place. I remember a parent said this to me. You know, it's the first time anybody's ever told me that, like, my child's like really intelligent. For a lot of children, this is the first time that they're gonna be or feel intellectual. They're gonna be told, oh, right, you're hugely intelligent, you're amazingly articulate, you're this, that, and the other. And it's very sad because we've got a lot of children, a lot of grown adults who have had traumatic experience in education, but there is not much in place, or this isn't really a discussion that's being had. And that's why I thank you, because a lot of the podcasts, not to be disrespectful in any way, there are a lot of similar themes. You with me? There are a lot of similar
They only talk about only relationships most of the time.
Relationships, football.
Somebody had to say it.
No, it's true. Relationships, football, and this, that, and the other. But everyone's been to school.
Someone was saying to me, oh yeah, why don't you put blah, blah, blah more and this, that. And I said to them, anytime we have serious discussions like this here, it will do the first episode very high.
And then
the next two,
medium.
The moment I talk about relationships or just dumb subjects now,
it's peaking.
All day.
15K, 20K. The views will just spike. So I said to them, the truth is, you lot say you want this. I've said it in the comments. I'm like, you lot say you want this, but the truth is, it's not something you tune into. You would rather me run jokes all the time.
Yeah.
But I'm like, if I ran jokes all the time, my page would be on like 50K subs, easy. But it's like, I have this talk all the time with one of my good friends, Madam Joyce. And I was like, the problem with that, why I don't want to do that is, I want the content to outlast me. So even years after, if I stop doing YouTube, someone could go back 10 years back and be like, you know what, I should have watched this back then. I could show this to my younger one now. So there's always something that's relevant through time and not
timeless.
Just, you know what I mean? Not just for the moment. So it's like, even circling back to school and that, I think what kept me in check, one, was I'm super competitive.
Yeah.
So not only on sports, in education wise, like I think like as a kid, like the people that I related more to as in characters were like Batman, Tony Stark, Lex Luthor, where I wanted to be the smartest and the strongest at the same time. So I wanted a bit of both. And it's like when people are like, "Ro, who's your favorite DC character?" I'm like, Batman. Everyone's like, "Why? He ain't got no powers." I'm like, yeah, the guy's a genius though. So what happened in my family, my cousins were really, really smart. So it was a competition and everything. We want to be the smartest in the house, that, you know what I mean? I think what kept me in check in school though was, at first when I moved there from Nigeria when I was 11. So I used to get into a lot of fights at my first school, new school.
You say fresh.
FOB.
Fresh.
FOB. So I moved to second school, fights again. But after I got kicked out, what kept me in check?
Something very interesting now. We're going to circle back.
What kept me in check was a couple things. I never had a passport.
Right.
So my aunt said, I'm going to send you back to Nigeria. If I got sent back, I would never be able to get back in. Yeah. That would be me done forever. So my whole life would be totally different to where it is now.
Yeah, unless Pretty Patel's watching.
You get what I'm saying? I would have never been able to get back in. So that kind of instantly, knowing that kept me in check, because one of my cousins, he got sent back. And when he got sent back, he came back and he was never the same. And when I say it, I was just like, raw. They used to think sending you back would keep you in check. But if you go to like some of the roughest schools out there and you become one of the baddest youths in that school due to, like, you sent him back now and you sent him back
you ain't got nothing to lose.
You ain't got nothing to lose. There's no one else from the family there. So you sent him to a boarding school on his own and he has to represent for himself, one up. You've left him in the middle of nowhere. Like Saturday, Sunday, he can't come back. Them days there, remember, it was a calling card thing. We didn't have WhatsApp calls. So it was a calling card thing. he didn't have a mobile phone either. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, if they called a school's phone, that's when he might be able to get that conversation.
Pass a message, run and get
pass a message. You know what I mean?
Back,
So in my head, it was just like, if I get sent back, I just kind of knew like, I'm not like all these youths. So my whole life's gonna change differently. I might be one of them men on the roadside selling like can of milk and sweets and that, just because of
naira.
You get me? Just because of one moment of fighting in school. So instantly, that made me just, it changed everything. Because I think growing up here, I had a temper just because I felt like anytime something happened, like if someone said something, I had to prove that. But that light bulb moment made me realize that, I'm not fighting. I'm stronger than all of you. I'm stronger than this man, that man, this man, that man. Like, what I realized here, the strongest people in school never used to try and antagonize me because they were already confident in themselves that they didn't need to trouble no one else.
That almost comes back, brings the thing full circle to Will Smith.
Yeah.
As a man, when you're confident in yourself.
The strongest man in my school,
you ain't got to put hands on no one.
They never used to just, they were so cool, calm and collected. So after I've learned from them, I was like, these men move, and my brother who died, Jamel. Like, I was like, these men always move calm. You would never see him start on no one. He would always be jokey. Everyone knew he was the strongest. He was like, in my year, able to beat up people 2 years above him. But he was just always, you know what I mean? He was just always that guy. So after seeing this, I was just like, be like more like them, where you're just cool, calm, collected, don't get into madness, be chilled out. And that just humbled me. It proper humbled me. Because like, I remember as a kid where like, there's one of the doors in my old house where I got angry because my older cousin, she said something that triggered me. I'm like, I'm never gonna hit a woman. I literally just bang, boom, through the door, and that hole is there. And literally, my cousin's like, "Right, you gonna fix the door?" I said, "No, that's memories." I just.
And I was saying something very similar earlier on that. But the reason why, and it's interesting you speak about the older boys, olders, and having that influence, having that. That's why it's so important, because men who really know what it is to be a man never really ever want it to get to the threat of violence, because if it's two men and it gets, as you're talking about that competitive, that real, it's a matter of life and death. You with me? That's what it comes to.
Yeah.
It's not like a funny, like the whole slap thing, not to bring it back. That's not a joke.
That's not a joke. Yeah.
You with me? That's not
embarrassing someone in
on national. Like, that's not a joke. This is serious.
Ziggy, you know what? I said something here, like as a tweet. I said, if it was someone like Little Dirk or one of them Chicago,
one of them young youths,
like
the whole Oscars is getting shot up,
and kept his mouth. He would have had to laugh.
The whole
place would have turned into
literally.
Listen, if that was Dave Chappelle,
Dave would have reacted.
He wouldn't have got up. He wouldn't have got up.
Yeah, Dave would react.
If that was another comic, it's only because, as you say, Chris Rock's
Chris Rock, not
really having the size and you get me?
That's because he ain't got the size.
He doesn't have no size.
If it was even Kevin Hart, Kevin ain't having it.
Yeah. Kevin trains.
Kevin trains. There would have been two Philly guys fighting. Because they're both from Philadelphia.
But look, sorry, to circle back, because I feel like we need to understand more about what you do and the importance of it, because we've obviously touched on
your experience
and the positivity of it, and I say that to say this: if I had somebody like you in my life at that time, I feel like my life and my experience would have been very different. And so it's
you'd have excelled more.
Coming on here, and as I said, it is to create a narrative around our experience in education and how we're going to move forward. We've got lots of these platforms. There are lots of conversations being had. You got podcasts, Clubhouse, this, that, and the other. And the thing that changes lives in regards to is education. Your education attainment is going to change lives. We speak about a lot of other things in our community, quote unquote, about that we need to change. But where is the focus in regards to we have to educate ourselves, attain a certain level of education, and once you attain that level of education and so on and so forth, you begin to be able to dictate and control your community. Yep, you can begin to have influence and because you have a greater understanding of what's what. And these are conversations that aren't happening. So in regards to my day to day, the first thing is, since figures have been released, so you have like school league tables, and they tell you, they break it down via ethnicity, who achieves GCSEs above the national level. The national level is, say around, it hovers around the 50%, year on year. So you've got a 50% chance if you sit your GCSEs to get that C and above, including English and maths. Black children, and when I say black children, I'm speaking about black African, black Caribbean, and children of mixed race, mixed heritage, have consistently fallen below that. Consistently falling below. So I'm like, right, that's a massive problem. So for me, the conversation needs to be, firstly, we need to be above the national average.
You know,
educationally.
Random question. Where my cousin lives, that area, I wonder what the national average of that community in that area.
The thing is,
it must be high.
All right, not to beat up where man lives.
That's the reason why.
But 3 roads on, there's a bus station. If you bus down that bus station, there's a huge school. Those people, in regard, and that's what I'm saying, in regards to controlling your community, they have their own schools. They don't business.
I know. They have their own police. Everything.
They have their own schools. They have their own. They control their community. They have their own jobs. They create their own jobs, so on and so forth. So, because we have to go into the work world, because we haven't patterned it like that, where we have businesses, institutions, so on and so forth,
and they own most of the houses in that area as well.
That area.
I know this because every time I go past, then there's a couple of times where I'm parking up and someone's come out and they're like, oh yeah, blah blah blah, you can't park in there. Then we've got into a conversation, and
nice, a lovely community.
And when we're talking, I'm just like, right. Then I'm like, oh yeah, how long you? Oh yeah, I bought this and I'm like, right.
Let me tell you how deep it is in that area. That specific area. When you're doing house conversions, you know, you can usually, if you're having a loft conversion, you come out at the back. You with me? I'm not an architect. Somebody will probably break it down, but but they can also go to the front. They've in that specific area, because they control the council, and they have control over their area. They can build extensions that literally go up like blocks. It's the so when I did it on my house, I don't live in that specific ward. I'm like, yo, I want to do an extension like theirs, not just a back extension on a 3 bed. I want to do it front as well. No, only them man can do it. Why? They have a special dispensation because they control the council and they control their local ward. There's nothing wrong with this. This is what we should be doing.
No, I'm laughing because
but you know the funny thing is,
they clock the game.
But you know the funny thing is, the person who probably told you this is probably from our community.
No, I called the council.
Yeah, but I'm saying most people who work for in that areas.
No, but what he's saying is he called the man. And the man is saying, even though you're calling me to get permission, they have a special permission.
You can't do it in your ends.
But he's 3 roads away in a different council.
You
see what I mean? 3 roads away in a different. But more time is people from our community making those rules.
No, because that's not how. Look, one of the confusions that we've got is politics, how politics works, and how you know a man says, I run my ends, or your MP doesn't really run your ends. It's your local councillors. So you, depending on the ward, so you'll have the area, and then within that you'll have a ward. So I'm from Tottenham. You'll have, I don't know, maybe you got about 12 wards, and within that you've got 3 councillors. They control everything that happens. So building permissions, what you're allowed to build. So if, say you wanted to do an extension to a certain, you've got to apply to the council. Say you want to, if you're a housing developer and you've bought up a certain area and you want to do something, you have to go to the council. They control everything.
See, this is why I love Africa, isn't it? You see, Africa, think you can tell me where to put this in my house? This land here, I own it. If I want to go 20 floors up, I will do it. That's why I love Africa.
I do love, but
once you own the land there, ain't no one telling you nothing. But
the educational attainment of our young people, there definitely needs to be a focus in regards to boom, let's push on this, and then you'll see the knock-on effect for everything else, because is it you that mentioned Pretty Patel?
Yeah.
The South Asian community, they've traditionally always done well
Yeah.
at school.
Mm-hmm.
They've done very well at school.
Yeah.
Don't get it wrong, they faced racism, but it's
Not
not
like
been
us.
anti-black racism.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
Anti-black racism and the thing that man have faced.
Yeah.
However, what you're now seeing is 2-3 generations down the line, man's Home Secretary,
Yeah.
man's, what's my man? Chancellor.
Yeah.
They've been able to get into because they understand
Yeah.
how the game works. While
Yeah.
we're in our communities, we're still shuffling.
And
Yeah.
the conversations are changing for them.
You understand
Yeah.
the conversations they have hit the nail on the head. Whereas we're still having the same conversations
Over and over again.
30, 40 years.
So how do you see that changing from in terms of you affecting change? From obviously you're doing what you can from your perspective, and with regards to
Education.
changing it how you can. You're doing what you can from your perspective. How do you feel like parents are active enough to help instigate that change?
Not parents alone. As they say, everybody knows it takes, and going back to
community.
Takes a
it
village,
takes a community.
yeah.
It takes a village. But what are the conversations that are being had in the village? That's my point. If the conversations that are being had in the village are about relationships, banter, and football, most black, and I'm not exaggerating, and I could do a survey.
Yeah, passer. That's yeah.
Most youths, black youths, between the ages of 10 and maybe 13, if you ask them what they want to do, they stone cold believe, I want to be a Premier League footballer. Yeah, that's what's running. I want to be a Premier League footballer. Why do you want to be a Premier League? Is there a coincidence that, because I'd speak to, as you speaking about people from, I speak to lots of people from other races and stuff. They love football.
Yeah.
They love football. Season ticket holders.
Yeah.
But their youths ain't turning around and genuinely wholeheartedly believing that they're going to be Premier League ballers. Like, listen, you talk to certain youths, especially in the inner city, you can't convince them. You could show them the numbers little more. You cannot convince them that they are not going to make it. Because in their heads, that's what they believe. Because in our community, again, these are the conversations that are consistently, we talk about football, we talk about, these are the people we showcase, these are the this, that and the other. We need to change the narrative, don't get me wrong. Nothing's wrong. In other communities, they love football. It's a multi-billion, trillion, probably pound industry. But we ain't really got time for that right now when exclusion rates amongst black youths, especially black boys in certain areas of the country, you're 5 times more likely to be excluded as a black boy in certain areas than anybody else. Listen, if you're a black boy with special educational needs, SEND.
So
if you're a black boy with special educational needs, let me make sure you got this right. Black boy special educational needs compared to a white girl without. I think I've got this right. You're 162 times more likely to be expelled from school.
So, all right, let me. I just have to ask on that because you kind of touched on the point.
Black boy, special educational needs, free school meals. That's the correct one.
Free school meals.
So if you're on free school meals, which is an indicator of coming from a deprived background, you have special educational needs, and you're a black youth, compared to a white girl without any of those precursors, you're 162 times more likely to be excluded from school. Okay,
so that's mad. I mean, bro.
Random question here. Do you think? This is for both of you. Do you think, like, especially with the generation of kids now, like, so people in our age group who've got kids in secondary school, and that, do you think the reason why a lot of these kids tend to be failing is due to us, our generation, being too money driven, where a lot of us would have multiple jobs or a job and a hustle, so a lot of times kids are not getting full attention?
I'm gonna say no.
We're always on the grind.
I'm gonna say no. Do you know why? I'm still wrapping my head around that.
Yeah, I can see.
I'm
you
gonna
look
come
like,
back to that.
You look like I slap you.
Wake up. Mortal Kombat. Where it's like
Yeah.
finishing. That's what I'm like,
Oh,
raw.
I got some more stats to finish you, bro.
So, the reason I say no is because we've come from a place, or our parents have come from a place, depending on what generation you are over here. So for you, it's different because you're first gen over here.
Yeah, I'm first gen over here.
So I'm second gen over here. Yeah. So my parents, for example, came and they worked like the less desirable jobs.
Yes.
And they didn't complain because they had a vision when they came over here.
That was my start off.
Right.
Yeah, same thing.
And so they came, they had a vision, they applied themselves, achieved it, and here we are. So it's like rinse and repeat to an extent. Now, societal influence will change change my perspective on the possibility of achieving that dream and the method of it as well. Because for me, I'm not gonna go for a job that my parents might have gone for 40 years ago, because times have changed, and also there's an understanding of. I'm gonna come to this point as well because, in school, I remember like applying for my first jobs, and I was just going for retail, and it's whatever, but all the white boys are going for supervisor roles, and it was like. There was never a word in school to say, okay, black boys just go for advisor and white boys go for supervisor. But that's what happened, and it's like we were never told otherwise. And our understanding was we can't go for those positions, and this is why I say no, because it's transitioned a lot. So now we can go for those positions. Now we're watching The Apprentice and we're seeing was it Tim Campbell, is it? Yeah. I couldn't think of the surname, but we're seeing him in the boardroom. So there's been a lot of shift. You know what I mean? But so you're saying, just to go back because this is still riding. So let's say I'm a black boy who's neurologically diverse.
I like that.
And free school meals. I'm 162 times more likely than a white girl
without any of those needs
to be
excluded.
Sad boy.
From school. Now, you asked the question, and I try not to ask questions that I don't really have the data or I don't have the knowledge on. So I think we do live in a society, unfortunately, where and again, I don't have the data, but I can speak from kind of maybe personal experience. I do think Instagram and all of that kind of stuff does have a bigger influence on our community. And the reason why I say that is because in regards to kind of grounding and culture, your school, what denomination was it? A Catholic school? Yeah. Interestingly enough, and you might be able, but they break down ethnically, like, are you white other, you white British, this, that, and the other. White Irish tend to achieve out of the white groups academically much higher than your white British youths.
Why do you think that is?
When I broke it down,
it's a culture thing.
It's cultural, and you might be able to attest to that. Them man are devout. They've got certain rules amongst white Irish Catholic youths. They tend, one of the things that's very important and high on their list is marriage. Like them man get married.
But you see, even going back to the black community, like if you split up here, what would it be if it was split up like black African,
black Africans out-achieve black Caribbean boys. So there's even a black African children out-achieve black Caribbean children, and if you were to look at the trajectory within the next 2 to 3 years, black African children should break the national average. GCSE exams are just round the corner. Does your child need that final boost before their GCSE exams to get the grades they need? Join our Easter revision classes in Maths and English, where our expert tutors will prepare your child for exam success. During our sessions, your child will learn time management skills, key exam techniques, and question strategy. For more information on how to book, visit our website at moreeducation.co.uk. ChisoLifts.uk.